Welcome to Viewertown. I'm your host, Mightygerm, along with co-host AirplaneGorilla, and our special guest this episode is Aria.
How's it
Hi.
going?
Good. It feels good to be back in the saddle. Just some of you might know, I had COVID, was out for a couple weeks, but my host kept it down while I was away. Right?
I don't want to burst your bubble, but I didn't mention that you were gone at all last episode.
Oh, just
So no, people didn't know.
silently missing, like that one like Stalin picture. Just erased me from the podcast.
Well, I did, but I don't think I don't think I told you that, or I don't think I said that you had COVID or anything. I just said that you weren't here.
Yeah, makes sense.
Oh, I did. I think I did. Actually. It's been a while. It's whatever.
You have such a short memory. But yeah, Aria, do you want to introduce yourself, shield yourself, anything? Or we can just go on to the news if you want.
Oh, hi. Subscribe to my Patreon. I'm just kidding.
No, drop the money link, dude.
We'll add it in the show notes.
We'll put it in the description.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Hi, I'm Aria. VTuber sometimes now, not really. And I'm also a Live to D artist and rigger. If you want to check out my stuff, I have Twitter, AriaRinChan, Patreon, patreon.com/AriaRinChan, twitch.com/AriaRinChan. Thank you.
I'll put the links in the notes. Oh my god. And also Aria has a forehead so big you can play tic-tac-toe on it.
It's not that big.
Only in that that certain model.
That certain model.
I just instantly gave up on saying LobCorp.
No, I wanted to say the whole thing lobotomy, but my brain just stopped.
Would you say you had lobotomy?
Shut up.
Yeah, I'll kill myself now. Anyways, we had a lot of stuff just for like the current events and news. There's a ton of stuff happening in the corporate world. There were some things announced at the convention. AX was a couple weeks ago. But one of the biggest events was a graduation from Hololive. You know, Sana, one of the second generation of Hololive English talents, has graduated. But this is a little bit of an interesting, different situation than some of the other ones before.
Yeah, well, technically she hasn't graduated yet, but she announced that she's going to be graduating at the end of the month on the 31st. But interestingly enough, she's trying to get out like all of her streams and stuff during the meantime.
Yeah, she's doing a bunch of collabs and things like that.
It's kind of like the same treatment from when Coco graduated. It seems like Hololive does the same things for when people graduate.
Yeah,
They just all have like a period of maybe 15 days and they just cram the collabs they can during that time.
well,
And sell all the merch they possibly can.
speaking of Coco, she requested for her release as well, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she also
Okay.
asked to.
Yeah, so this is a similar situation for that then, because in the press release statement, they said that Sana requested, to leave.
Well,
It
it's
was kind of
because
weird,
the
right?
thing, well, yeah, because the thing with like Japanese corporations, they hardly ever
Yeah,
fire anyone. They just kind of start treating people differently up until
Yeah.
they request to leave themselves.
yeah, like they put them in the seats by the window.
But yeah, like on the press release, it says, we had discussed several times with Sana regarding the direction of her activities. However, as time went on, it became difficult for her to continue her VTuber activities. Now we know part of this is due to health issues, right?
Yeah, she got into a car accident and among other personal issues and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Because there's definitely been, because people have been commenting on the quantity of streams and stuff like that, but there's a bunch, especially in the Japanese brands, there's a bunch of people who don't stream very regularly and they're never like kicked or pushed out, as far as we know.
Yeah, Ayame.
You mean I am? Yeah.
I mean, it's realistically only Ayame, but
But the thing is, she brings a lot more money than Sana does. Like
Yeah.
every
Well-
time
well,
Ayame
does it,
shows up, it's like a festival of like red super chats and all
the-
that.
The thing I would tell people, when I talk to somebody about this, I would just tell them like Ayame is kind of tenured. She kind of she put in her effort early on, and she still does
Yeah.
she still does stuff even if she's not streaming. Sana's case seems like she just kind of
Never really got off the ground.
yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a big like a little bit like bigger picture. Do you think there's like this diminishing return thing, like an oversaturation thing, where your newest generations of VTubers are just going to have a harder time breaking into the market?
I
Well,
feel like maybe for other corpos, not so much for Hololive.
no. Well, honestly, even in Nichisanji, technically, Selen and like that crew is a little bit more popular, right?
Well, I would say it's because in Selen's case, she kind of stood out because of like her voice and all that, and also her I think her Apex skills played a lot into it. She was
Yeah,
like
but
Apex Predator before.
yeah, I'm trying to think of like other corporation debuting like another generation and how different it is. Because in Japan they always tend to debut like a new Hololive gen. It usually really depends on like how good the people are.
Yeah, I mean, like people, really talented people are going to stand out no matter when they debut. I'm just like my brain is telling me that there has to be like a saturation point, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do feel like Hololive Council specifically was really um I don't want to say poor performing, but nobody was really gonna like put any of them over a Hollow Myth talent. At least
Yeah,
at least
cuz
from what I've seen.
yeah, cuz like the whole situation of Hollow Myth is like kind of a once in a lifetime thing because it was the first English generation for Hololive and the first like was it the first English corporation for VTubers? I'm not
At least
sure.
major, something like
Yeah, like
Yeah.
that. Like it was unless you count um no, unless you count Hololive India being technically English.
or Indonesia.
No, India
Oh, India.
and Indonesia, kind of.
But it was definitely yeah, because their growth was astronomical, even compared to the Japanese talents. Myth was.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
well, I really would like to see like a third Hololive English gen just to see how they compare to the second and first one. I feel like the second was never gonna the second generation
The
was
middle
never going.
child.
Yeah, it's always middle child, like the middle child syndrome. But in Hololive, the third gens on, they still felt like kind of special.
Yeah, you mean like the Japanese gens? Yeah, definitely. And there's always a couple of standouts from every generation. It's just, man, I don't. How long can the industry in general keep this going? Is it like? Do you think the longevity is based on having like fresh fresh blood, new talent, coming in, every couple months? Like if they just stopped releasing new gens for like a year or two, what would happen?
I feel like that would be better because
Yeah,
like I think releasing a lot of gens can be very detrimental, like how it happened with
yeah.
Ichisanji,
I think
because
that
they had the male debuts. They had like they debuted 5 males and then another 5 after to like catch up with the girls. And I feel like most people don't know the second part of the males because
yeah,
of it.
like they do very well, but it doesn't do like it's gonna do well. Like you're gonna generate revenue regardless because it's not. I will always believe that VTuber overhead is not that much,
Oh, it can't
but
be.
the thing is, it's I don't know. It just feels weird. Like you're gonna get money, but it's like a very passive kind of thing. They don't. It doesn't feel special.
I feel like you have to give the VTuber gen like a kind of time to breathe and build
Yeah,
their own fan base before
like
you debut a new one.
I,
Give them a
I
buffer zone.
it's about to be 2 years since Myth debuted, and I feel like people are still not bored of it.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
are not bored at all. It probably it's gonna be like 5 years before people are like, okay, maybe we do need like something new. Or not, probably not 5 years, but like definitely more than the time that has passed.
I mean, if you really think about it, like if you just think about like regular Twitch streamers, it's not like they get new generations of like,
No, but people do
like
like,
Ninja
but
or
like
whatever.
the thing is, if you like pay attention, you do notice like there are new people breaking in
Mhm.
at certain amount of times. Like people do get tired and they want to see something new, but they won't really like voice it. Like there's no reason to voice it because the person you like is still going to be doing things.
Yeah.
Like
And like
you don't really know that you want something new until you got the new thing. I guess.
That is true.
And I guess that's what they thought was gonna happen with council. It's like, hey, look at all these new people, and
But it's just like well, they're also going to be releasing their male generation too, right?
yeah, that was teased over the week. And at the time of recording, it will be a day before they announce it. I think because that's what the countdown says.
yeah, it'll probably be a video announcing the debut dates.
Now that's going to be. I wonder how they're going to play it because again, like this is still like male, because like Niji Shanji has already had their Ian male talent, so this is like
Yeah, they have 10 males. How many silhouettes is in the Hololive one?
4.
It's 4.
4.
Yeah, so
4.
that's kind of irregular because usually it's 5. Like 5 is the standard.
Maybe they can only find 4 good ones.
With this talent pool, sure.
Yeah, go on his
Yeah.
knees. Please, males, please apply
Oh
more.
yes, you remember that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Begging them to apply, but it's rough. It's rough to be in that position.
yeah.
I feel like I don't know. Maybe seeing that like they only hired 4 dudes instead of like 5 gives me a little bit of hope that they actually like sifted through the
Yeah,
best options and just didn't like pad out with like an extra one that maybe wasn't the best one.
yeah. The Yugo of the gen.
Do you think there's a difference? Like, there's got to be a difference how you'd like market Holostars to a Japanese audience versus like
Well,
Tempest, the English one.
they're doing it completely different. So people think that Hollow Stars is just what they call their males, but I guess they're being specific about it this time, where it's not going to be like a segregated gen.
Yeah, it's just like a new.
Yeah, it's just like
Hollow Tempest, right? It's just
it's just like a new addition to the overall Hololive English brand.
Yeah, I guess they learned with like Hollow Stars that they kind of just neglected the guys because they were just their own separate
Yeah,
whole thing and
they
not
did
branded
well.
under Hololive.
Like they did well, but the Japanese market is like completely different. Like you could leave somebody alone. You can leave somebody alone in Japan, and they'll probably be able to do really well on their own. But in the West, it's a much bigger audience.
Do you think
So
there's gonna be like a lot of collabs with
Probably,
like Myth and Council?
yeah, probably.
Maybe. I think
I mean,
if I'm not mistaken, I don't think they can collab like with other people inside Hololive like within the space of a month. Like they have to wait a month so they
Yeah,
can collab with other people. But maybe.
yeah, they've been doing that for a while, like you said, to give them breathing room to generate their own audience.
Yeah.
But afterwards, the VTuber fan base, it might cause issues. But again, that's more like a Japanese, side thing, I think, to a degree.
Yeah, I feel like the most of the Western audience is kind of like used to male and female VTubers interacting just because NDs do it a lot. I guess if someone comes directly from like the JP side, maybe you're gonna be like, "Hey, what the hell is this?" Yeah, I
Plus, we
think
don't
you're gonna
like
get used to it.
right, and we don't have as much as like the like gachikoi kind of idol culture stuff either.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Mm,
I like to see how they end up marketing them differently and how they just present themselves. See if they find out the the secret, the cheat code.
Nishi-san, Nishi males were basically just their guinea pigs.
They let them have
I mean,
the test drive.
yeah, I mean, honestly, the amount of information that you could probably learn from those 10, like the 10 Nishisanji male talents is a lot.
Yeah.
Do you think they have a market research team that's like just like watching all these streams and taking notes of what works and what doesn't?
No. I mean, yeah,
No.
yes, but like not like
Like
super
not
in depth.
actively, yeah.
Not
Yeah.
like
They
well, like
probably just study numbers, like not watch actual streams, maybe.
yeah, like they'll probably tell people like, hey, you're good at this, you should do this because XYZ metric. Like
Yeah.
there's a reason why Fox just goes all in on what he does because I'm pretty sure he and his like management people know it works. So why would you stop doing it?
There's even more. Man, there's like a lot of debuts and stuff happening this last week. Who else debuted? There was like Phase Connect, and then like Vshojou announced some new talents as well. Well, quote unquote new, right?
New for
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. I wonder if this is going to become a thing. Like for our listening audience, Kson has joined Vshojou.
Yes, Kson is our listening audience.
Yes. But talents like major talents like kind of switching to other corporations.
Yeah,
Has
that's
this
a very
happened before? I'm trying to
uh
think.
I mean, yes.
Like major corporation to major corporation.
Yeah, some Nishisanji became Hololive
Oh,
members.
okay.
But this is a special situation because it's somebody leaving one of the big two and joining something that's not like the
Not the big two.
yeah, like honestly, I always thought that like Nishisanji was just like a stepping stone.
Stepping stone to Hololive.
Yeah, to Hololive.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Like that's how I saw it when some of those members went over to Hololive. But this is interesting because Vshojou they're in the picture, but as of right now, we're not entirely sure where they really stand.
Yeah.
Like they do really well, but as like a global recognized brand, I don't think it's on Hololive level yet.
Yeah. But it's also like a fundamentally different thing, right? They're not like releasing generations and cultivating talent and stuff like that. Not in the same
They
way
had
like
the
Hololive does.
the auditions like almost a year ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, whatever happened?
I don't know what happened with that.
I don't know. I feel like plans change, but I thought from the start, I do think that is very interesting that they announced this at like a convention because I mentioned in a few episodes ago that I think we're going to start seeing more of this where people are going to treat VTubing as like a real legitimate thing where they take it to like conventions and have like reveals at conventions and have like news because Kson showed up after they announced that she was going to be there, so that's like really cool. You don't really get something like that.
Yeah, it started to really kick off this year. Like they had some people had announcements at Offkai. We have AX. There's going to be VTuber presence at Otakon too. Like I just assume like the anime convention VTuber crowd is just going to like merge, and you're just going to have a bunch of announcements at these anime conventions.
And it's smart because generally, if you're at a convention, you will be more receptive to whatever you're being shown because it's part of the fun. It's part of the experience of going to a convention. But the other thing I thought about the Vshojou reveal is that it's going to be interesting seeing how they operate in Japan.
Yeah, because they're like way less of like a company than the Japanese think, I guess.
Yeah.
Like even Kson during her stream, she was like, "Oh no, Vshojou is not a company," which I'm not totally convinced it's not a company. I think she just said so. So the Japanese audience would be like, "Oh, okay, it's not like Hololive, I guess."
Yeah, it's not like what they're used to.
But the other thing is that they only announced her and another person. So are they just gonna like both tackle Japan with two people? I feel like they're being a little bit outnumbered, even if Kson is like a legend and
Kson brings her own audience, right? She was one of the top,
Yeah.
performers in the Hololive. So
Yeah, but um, the environment has changed. Things have changed. I feel like it's
I
gonna be.
feel
the
I
like
game
feel
has changed.
like yeah. I feel like it's gonna be really. Well, considering that the benefit of Hololive and Nishisanji is that they are at home base. They're operating as a Japanese company. Operating in Japan is a lot easier because they know everything about it. Vshojou
oh, I'm
being
pretty sure that like Vshojou has their own
like office in
JP
Japan.
management. Yeah, because at least for Kson, like I saw her retweet some stuff from like her own manager, and they have like all Japanese account and stuff, and they have
Okay.
like they work for Vshojou Kson. So I'm pretty sure that they're hiring like JPs themselves
Yeah.
to manage the girls.
Okay, that's very smart.
Yeah, I wonder what's in it for Kson, right? Who was already a really really successful indie, right? Once she quit, so
Well, I mean, everyone started talking about her again. Aligning yourself with something like huge tends to work out.
mhm.
Like people are gonna talk about you.
Yeah. Is this like just like a shot in the arm, like to reinvigorate interest?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay, because like her being like usually a
Because I mean,
VTuber that
I
doesn't
mean,
that's not very popular or well known is probably better. Joining a big corporation is them to get their name out, right?
well, think about Vshojou at the start. It was just the strongest Westerners aligning themselves
Yeah.
together
Hmm.
for like even more benefit, like mutual benefit. So even if she's able to operate very well on her own, it doesn't hurt to just start like delegating some things to people if she can. Because I'm pretty sure Bishoujo does a lot of like we see stuff happening out of them all the time. That's not just coincidence.
Right. They're definitely active in terms of managing their talents. So it's interesting. It's interesting to see how it plays out, especially it's weird to even say like a Westerner in a Japanese audience because Coco was
Yeah,
there.
she is like the bridge.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I still think even though I think she ended up having more English watchers towards the end.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, I don't know about like number wise, but kind of like
Yeah.
vibe wise, it felt like that.
Yeah. But the other thing I was thinking about is that it feels very we're gonna we're gonna get into sports trade territory soon enough.
Oh yes, for the 2022 draft.
Yeah,
How many first round picks would you trade for Kson?
probably not that many. I would take like Salome or something like that, like a current like super proven kind of.
Man, that would be sick if it worked like the draft. And
Yeah,
had trades and everything. You have these big organizations. That would actually like increase my enjoyment of VTubing quite a bit.
yeah. I mean the signing of Kson as this like mystery person did pique my interest. I do think uh probably nothing much is gonna happen as far as like how things operate, but it will be interesting to see like the micro changes that people are gonna do.
Hmm. And see how the other companies like
React.
react to it. I think would be very very
Because it's
interesting.
like I don't know if they like planned this, but tomorrow is today is July 15th. So tomorrow will be the Kson and the mystery person's like debut, and then they're gonna reveal Hololive Tempest, which is the male branch. So it's like two things kind of colliding at the same time, even though it's like completely separate audiences that they're marketing to.
Really. But companies do this all the time. Like
Yeah,
Blizzard is notorious for releasing its like expansions on the dates of other MMOs.
yeah, and it makes sense. Like,
Hmm.
but just small things like that, you know.
So yeah, there's a ton of corporate news, but I do
Yeah.
want to start talking about our kind of main topic of discussion today with Aria is about being an artist, a rigger in the VTuber community. Um, every VTuber needs a model. I mean, unless you're using like a PNG or something like that, you're gonna need the services of an accomplished artist and rigger. So it's created this big kind of like internal market, I guess, where people taking commissions on Twitter and just having a big network of artists and everything like that. Many of them being VTubers themselves. So, Aria, were you? I don't want to make this like too interviewee, but it's like, how'd you get into? I guess in particular, like live 2D and rigging, since it's like a very specific sort of talent.
I guess I just went into it because at the time that I decided I wanted to start VTubing, uh there weren't that many people selling like VTuber models at an affordable price that I knew of at least. And I was just like, well, I'm just gonna do it myself. It was like June 2020, I think, when I made my own model. And at the time it's kind of like it was a very niche thing, like learning about live 2D, like without being the Japanese sphere because you looked at a bunch of tutorials and stuff. It would mostly be like in Japanese, and then you had to scour the internet for like this one specific thing you wanted to do and have a tutorial that you can actually understand and all that.
Yeah, because at the time nobody else knew what they were doing either.
Yeah, yeah. So it
You
was
just
just
like
like,
trialed and errored all on your own to learn how to
oh
rig and
yeah,
stuff. God, that must have
yeah.
taken
I just
forever.
did like, dude, I was like, just a broke student in like the middle of COVID and all that, and then I was like, man, I have like zero money and I'm kind of bored. It's like summer vacation right now. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Just like stay in my room all by myself the entire summer. So it's just like, oh, I'm just gonna do a little VTuber model I did in like mm, 2 days maybe. It was so scuffed, and uh, I did everything on like my very shitty laptop.
Do you keep all your old stuff too? Have some
Oh
like
yeah, I still have
throwback
my
streams.
I still have my original model. I did put it up on a stream once.
Yeah, I mean, I think like a lot of like the quote unquote like first generation, they had to make their own models, had to make their own rigs themselves, right? And now you have this
Yeah.
sort of like kind of cottage industry where people are selling those services, and the prices are the rigging seems like it's a very intensive process, right? It's
Oh yeah.
doing that sells for a lot, like comparable to just the art, right?
Doing like I think both drawing for Live 2D and Live 2D rigging is just commission types that take a long time because before this I used to take commissions online for like a couple of years. I started when I was like 16. So it's been like a long
Holy shit.
time. Yeah. I was like in high school and was like, "Oh, hey guys, who wants to commission me?"
Already on
Yeah,
that
I
grind.
never Oh yeah, absolutely. And then and when I started doing like VTuber model commissions because I think one of the friends that I made through like VTubing, they were like, "Oh yeah, why don't you like do VTuber model commissions? Like you could make money with that. Like a lot of people need models and stuff." And I was like, "Yeah, you have a point." And then I noticed how time consuming it is to do it because basically I think the easiest way to explain it, if you draw something and you want a specific thing to move, you want it to be separate from everything, so you end up making a drawing that has like a million layers, and drawings have to overlap and all that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've seen some people's live 2Ds like in the Photoshop or Clip Studio or something with like thousands of layers. Like Jesus Christ.
Oh, yeah, I usually spend like maybe 40, 50 hours in like just rigging sometimes. Depends
Holy
on how detailed it is. Yeah.
but there has to be like, just kind of like switching this up a little bit since there's such a huge demand for this stuff, right? Like I just imagine like the stress, right? Because you have, it's extremely time consuming, but I assume like the VTuber would be very, very particular about, every detail. Like, do you get that thing where you're talking to the person who commissioned you and they have a ton of modifications and requests and things like that? It's a very back and forth sort of thing.
I had it only happen once when I had like a rigging commission that was very rush because it was just an update for them, and we did do like a lot of back and forth. I maybe sent like 10 different files because we're very particular about like minute mistakes or maybe details about it. I don't mind it too much, but still it's kind of a little bit aggravating if you like do something and then you think your work is good, right? And then they go back to you and they're like, actually, I don't like this.
Yeah, and it's not like a red line or anything. They just don't like it.
Yeah, some people are just like, oh yeah, I didn't like this. I
Yeah.
had my first VTuber model commission I ever did. Like, I sent them updates for a sketch and then line art and then coloring. And then I was like, I'm going to merge all the layers. Okay, are you fine with this? And they're like, yeah. I still keep a backup file, but I just asked them just in case. And
They
then
got fine.
I handed them the final art, and then they were like, "Oh, can you change like the whole position of the leg?" And then I wanted my model to like appear female, like there's no boobs, as all this stuff that like they didn't really ask of me before.
Yeah.
And
Uh,
then
Just
you
say like
feel
no, all transactions are final.
Oh
yeah.
yeah, you feel super guilty because like you want people to be happy with whatever you hand them for your work, right? You don't want someone to be walking away being upset with what they receive, especially since it's like a very expensive transaction.
Yeah.
But at one point you just have to draw the line and be like, oh, I'm sorry if it was like an earlier update, I totally could have done it, but this is the final product. You already okayed it before and didn't say anything. I was like, I would have to charge more for those changes. They're like, oh, okay, it's fine.
Yeah, because it's you have other clients to deal with as well. So
Yeah.
you can't just work with one person like for such like over your allotted amount of time. I was gonna mention something. Since you're both like an artist and a rigger, that's how common is that? That I don't think many people do that.
I don't think it's like super common, mainly because if you just draw and then you want to learn how to do live 2D work, I feel like you have to be very dedicated to improving because there's no like this one place to go to like learn everything. You have to
Yeah.
have the patience to like look around and then follow the people that also do live 2D work. And I spend a lot of my time also watching uh VODs of people rigging just to see like whatever they do and stuff, and like I save VODs from people. I
Yeah.
have like 6-hour VODs of people rigging in my computer just because I'm like, oh, I like the way they did this. I want this for later.
Yeah, because it's like, and you mentioned like if you want something to be rigged a certain way, you have to draw it a certain way as well. So you're almost relearning like how to draw as well.
Oh yeah. I have this problem where if I just receive the artwork for rigging, sometimes there's like specific things I want to do that is just not possible anymore because I didn't separate the specific way that I would want it
Yeah,
to be separated. And then I'm just like, oh well.
yeah, and as an
There's no like
artist, you'll notice
standard.
that. As an artist, you'll notice that too.
Yeah. There's like now there's a bunch of tutorials out there on how to cut stuff for live CD rigging, but I feel like it's very difficult to know what to separate if you haven't touched live 2D before. I think it's
Yeah,
good for people that like draw live 2D stuff in general to at least touch live 2D once and like try to make something, because then you're gonna know how things work and
Then you'll
what
know
should be
the pain.
separated. Yeah, you're gonna know the pain.
Yeah, but like, yeah, I get this sense of like it's very much like kind of like there's no standards, there's no people artists make things this way and it's kind of accepted, and riggers do things in this fashion. It's kind of Aria, you learned on your own, watching Japanese videos, and you kind of have your own method of doing the cutting and rigging, and everyone else can be completely different, right? And
Oh yeah.
if you get a live 2D from someone else, like you said, it could just not be correctly separated.
Oh
Do you
yeah. I had this one particular commission, which was for like to update somebody's rigging. They wanted me to just like update the face rigging mostly. And it's kind of like, and then you notice how people do stuff like very differently, and then you just end up having to scratch it all off and then do it over again. It's a little bit
Yeah.
painful, but
Yes. I'm
Working
familiar with that. Getting someone else's work and just say this is not usable at all.
yeah, working with somebody's stuff is so much harder than anybody wants to believe.
Oh yeah.
oh yeah, for sure.
That's what I started my job doing, and it was a nightmare.
Yeah, like at my work, we have to do revisions on other people's stuff, or like somebody does something and then they're busy with another thing, but there's revisions that you need to do, so they give it to somebody like me, and it's like, oh, this is like completely different than how I normally do this, and you have to like, but you have to keep it consistent to what they're doing, so you have to like relearn like what they're doing, which is really difficult.
This is why we need to start the riggers union, right? Like,
Well, I mean, they do have those.
just have a professional certification. You have to pass this test.
Like they do have that's what guilds are for. Like people,
Yes.
artists and people who do rigging, they group together so they can actually like work with one another, with somebody that they know, and produce consistent products.
So when are you starting the guild, Aria?
She is the guild.
She's not allowed to answer that question.
Sorry, I had to to speak to my mom really quick.
Oh,
My dad's car
problem.
broke down in the middle of the road. I didn't hear what you were saying at all. I'm so sorry.
We were talking about Mighty was talking about how like, because of how inconsistent the work sometimes is, there should be like a some like kind of standard somewhere along the line, and I mentioned that that's what get the like artists and rigging guilds are for, where artists and the people who do the live 2D, they will like group together.
Oh yeah, that's
enforce quality standards and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's interesting because from what I understand, I don't know anyone inside a rigging guild, but from what I understand, they have like multiple people checking the entire process of the model. They have like people in quality control, people for like body rigging, facial rigging.
Yeah, well, some of my favorite one of my favorite VTubers, her first live 2D model was from Moshi Studio, who operates in like a very rigid way, and I do think that kind of like, but they like produce very quality product, and they always have like super high demand.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think that's I mean, the market is, is definitely kind of like the demand just completely outstrips the supply, especially when you get to, highly skilled and highly respected artists and stuff like that, which makes me, it still feels like it's a thing where it's very much face to face, one on one, people finding an artist, commissioning them, instead of it being like something you can buy from a like a company, right?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people who were like bigger VTubers, they prefer just going to a guild mainly because it's like just an easier process, because you just kind of like, oh hey, I want a model like this and this, I want the rigging to do this and that, and then you just go to like one place for all your needs, and then it kind of is guaranteed to come out a certain quality than if you, I don't know, put your trust in someone and just commission them to do your whole model.
Yeah.
How does that work, by the way? This is like a little bit behind the scenes. There's very little like legal recourse or anything like that if a commissioner just, vanishes, or I assume you pay people in installments, right? And if they don't finish their payment, like
Guilds
there's like
kind
no
of
rule.
Guilds do protect with that. Like I know that I have seen somebody. I think Moshi does this, where you have to like actually sign something like, okay, this is the terms of service, or like the
contract, yeah,
the contract, and you have to follow these rules. You have to pay more if you want this. You gotta tell the person you get this many revisions.
Yeah, like it's on Fiverr basically. Fiverr is a guild.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm like,
for me, I just basically I haven't had because they usually charge people half up front and half on delivery. Uh and then I haven't had someone just flake out on the last payment,
Right.
which is lucky considering, you know,
Like, really, you can't
a
really do
lot
much
of
about it.
yeah, people have been scammed left and right with
Yeah, you heard it here,
VTuber
folks. Do
models and
not
stuff.
pay Aria for the the second payment. She can't do anything about it. But
I
also, don't
mean,
do
if
that.
yeah, if someone doesn't pay the second half of the payment, I just wouldn't hand in the final product. I don't think.
Okay.
Because it's too risky if you handing in the final file and then be like, okay, now pay me. It's
Yeah,
like,
nah, people
Yeah.
are gonna be like, "What?"
yeah, they're just gonna be like, gotta go.
Do you have to deal with chargebacks or any stuff like that in terms of receiving payment?
Oh yeah, I dealt with people wanting refunds because rigging takes a long time, and then maybe you've had a problem with a certain commission that didn't allow you to finish another one quick enough,
Yeah,
and
things can change because I know, like,
yeah, things can change absolutely, and rigging commissions, at least for me, I can take uh if it's a good time and it didn't run into any hitches, it's probably a month would take. And then if a problem happens or something, the commissioner might be unhappy because they wanted it done in this specific time frame, or they had this
yeah,
expectation to be done in a month.
that's all.
And
But honestly, that's also something that you can probably put in your contract as well.
Yeah.
oh yeah,
That's also
but I
why
had
having multiple
people
people
charge
help.
back, and then I was like, they're like, oh, I want a refund because maybe they're not the way I'm updating them often enough, or maybe they think it's taking too long, and then honestly, I just give them the refund because I feel like it's not worth it to argue with people if they
Yeah,
want a
no,
refund for stuff.
you're just gonna get more. You're always because of how big the demand is. You'll always find customers.
Yeah, that's true. And then I also feel bad if someone asks for a refund, but what can you do? It happens.
Yeah,
Do you think that brings up another note? Do you think that artists and stuff are treated well by the customers, on average? I don't know how often you get these problematic, customers.
yeah,
I don't think I've gotten truly problematic people. I've only had the experience of people asking for a chargeback, but I haven't had someone be actually rude to me. Most people are very understanding, and I think maybe the most rude thing that can happen is I had this one commission where the person was like, hey, I got recommended by X person and I wanted a VTuber model. I was like, okay, I can do the sketch for you, and then you can see if you like it and if you want to go ahead with the commission and all that. So I did the entire model sketch. I did, I think, maybe 3 variations of outfits, I think 4. And then they got back to me. They're like, "Oh my god, I love these," and all that. And then uh
It's just
like then 2 days later they came back to me and "Oops, sorry, this artist got back to me and I'll go with them instead." And I was like, "Oh man, that kind of
oh
hurts."
my.
hey, at least it was 2 days.
Yeah. Maybe if they hadn't said they loved it, then it wouldn't have hurt as much, but they did offer to pay for the sketch process, which is nice, I guess, but yeah.
Yeah,
They give you the they give you the old reach around, right? Saying, here's something
Yeah.
for your time, but I'm going with the better version.
I mean,
Which
Yeah, I
is
just
what
feel it's something that happens often with VTuber models, honestly. People try to be on the wait list of multiple people at the same time, or maybe be in contact with multiple model artists or maybe riggers at the same time. And then they get the one they like better, and then the one they were already in contact with, they have to go "Oh, sorry, gotta go."
yeah, because the thing is, uh, it's just how it is. You want to keep your options
Yeah.
varied.
right?
So
And due to the waiting time, right? If there was
yeah,
if there was no wait, then you definitely wouldn't see as much of that.
Yeah, because of how much waiting around and how much like it takes to for people to get to you know the response and stuff and things like that. It's much better to just like get a bunch of people and then pick out the best option.
Yeah.
So you can't really get too hurt about that because that's just how it is. But what about like how on Twitter there's always like some artist getting called out? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I was going to go into that. Like,
I don't know. I feel like artist callouts is like so weird because when it's warranted, sure, if like someone like scammed someone, like they got paid and then like they never delivered or something, like they asked for a refund and the person never replied, then maybe it's warranted. But I feel like if people are gonna expose like other artists for like maybe they're like, oh, this person is like not responsive at all, and like I really dislike them, or uh which I seen happen multiple times. People be like mad over like, oh, this artist said they weren't taking commissions, and then they took this person that has many more followers than me. She's like, I don't think it's really warranted to make like a whole call out post because like I feel like people do it because they got upset, right? But the
Yeah.
thing is, you're not just it's not just a personal feud. You're kind of messing with the person's business at that point, like possibly their livelihood too.
Yeah, like the thing
Uh,
is, it'd be kind of weird if I don't know, like let's say a music producer denied to do like a beat for your SoundCloud fucking upload, but then they did a song with like a big artist. Like it's kind of silly. Like of course,
yeah,
like
it's like it's all business, right?
yeah,
If like a really big VTuber comes to you like asking for a commission and you said to someone else you weren't free, then you might reconsider, right, your options and stuff.
yeah.
Just so I think it's
Like
a
you have
little
to
bit
you also
silly when
you have
people
to
do call outs
yeah.
for
Like
that.
I feel like they don't think about it from like the creator's perspective,
Yeah.
where they probably had to say no to a bunch of other things that they were doing, or like drop a bunch of other things.
And most call out stuff is like it feels like a lot of things like could be dealt with in like DMs if people just like talked it out.
Yeah.
oh yeah, that could be applied to so many things.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
hear artists complain about that a lot. Like artists get so mad that people just don't know how to communicate.
But there's
Yeah,
also
there's
then
like oh, you can go ahead.
no, I was just saying there's also like the risk of a situation blowing up and all those DMs get leaked, and there's a couple situations like that earlier on or earlier this year rather.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then like the DMs come out, and then the artist is very nice and respectful, and
Yeah, the
then he
other
just
it makes the other
he
person
just
look
looks like an
bad.
idiot.
Yeah. Like I don't know, maybe the artist really is running into like some like difficult situations, like they can't really work for an extended period of time. Like I've had very nice clients that were like very understanding with me when like I was like moving and stuff and like I couldn't work on commissions for a while.
Yeah,
And I just told them like, listen, I'm sorry, I'm like late on stuff, and they were like, oh no, I totally get it,
yeah,
because at the end of the day, it's like art commissions are totally a luxury thing that you buy. It's like not you don't really need to buy it.
yeah.
So I don't know why
I
people get
need,
so pressed about it.
need.
Well, another thing is that like if you do stuff for like a business or something like that, there's usually NDAs and things like that. Like you can't just say
Yeah.
like, "Hey, yeah, Hololive hired me, so that's why I had to say no to you." We just have to say no.
Yeah,
But
I don't know.
but that also makes me interesting because you kind of straddle these two worlds as being like a VTuber and an artist. I guess like what's more important to you, or like what do you consider yourself first?
I consider myself an artist first,
Okay,
probably.
yeah, that
Is
makes
it,
more
is,
sense.
is that it? Is that at this point, or was that how you always felt?
It's how I always felt because like before becoming a VTuber, even I was just in art school, and then I was like, cool, I got my diploma and stuff, and then I became a VTuber. But before that, I was already looking for like our jobs and all that, and I guess like streaming was more of a like little side thing, maybe bonus.
Yeah, and that's the right way to look at it.
Yeah, I mean, artists get to double dip a lot, right? You can just like all your drawing
Yeah.
commissions or something, you just stream and
Oh, dude, such a the best part about being an artist is when people allow you to stream the commission, then you can just work on stream sometimes. But a lot of people also don't feel like, you know,
don't feel comfortable
talking
with
to
that.
people at the same time of working.
Yeah. I
Minimal chat interaction, gang, rise up.
well, honestly, even I remember like thinking like, oh, that's kind of dumb that you have to like pay a privacy fee, but it's what it is. That's what one of the guilds they charge like I think like $250
For a privacy fee.
Yeah, if you don't want your thing to be streamed.
Man, what a racket.
I don't know if it. I feel like paying a small privacy fee for like a guild maybe would be fine,
Yeah.
but I don't think that much because I guess they do lose money if they can't like use your stuff in progress to advertise, right?
Yeah.
And maybe like an artist like VTuber artist and rigger they can't stream it, so they're just busy working offline and can't stream, and I guess they lose money. You can look at
Yeah,
it that way.
because you do get like a lot of passive income from streaming, so it is.
Yeah.
And if you're in a guild, depending on how you charge, you have to split that between people. So trying to monetize as many things as possible is important. Because I know the person who did the rigging in one of the guilds, they would stream for like 10 hours, and it's just a what's it called? A trade-off. They could probably get a lot more passive income in that 10 hours than they would just working offline and being like keeping the work private.
Yeah. And
It's
like
weird that works that way though, right? In this industry.
yeah.
Because you went out and like, well, in most industry, if you go out and commission something, right, it's not like you're paying a privacy fee, right? It's just kind of assumed.
Yeah.
Like
Like,
maybe
it-
they
like,
use
it-
your
like
thing
it
as
will-
in a portfolio or something, maybe, right?
Yeah. But that is very
But they get away with it here.
yeah. Well, I mean, there's no rules there. There's no rule.
They keep getting away with
it.
Yeah, but hey, that's what happens when there's no set rules.
Yeah, and there's like massive demand, which also makes me think of like, have you had people like try to befriend you and like, hey, could you do a quick, live TV for
Oh,
my
man.
friend or whatever? Like, how much of that do you have to deal with?
I don't think I deal with it a lot. Just because I feel like I'm not the personality type where people feel like very inclined to approach.
Yeah.
All business.
People try to be friends with Aria and just get, oh man, it's not
No,
worth
you gotta
it.
pay. No, you gotta pay. You gotta pay for it.
Yeah, I haven't had like friends just like personally ask for like something for free. I've done like multiple times commissions for friends, but
What about discounts?
discounts? Oh, I do it for
The
friends.
homie discount?
Like I
Okay.
charge them less.
That's fine.
I charge
like,
them
honestly.
less, yeah.
That's fine.
The friends and family, right? But yeah, I feel like, there was this thing about like there almost being like a caste, within VTubers, right? And those like the ones that are this happened with artists, right? Where the artists, the VTubers would get super, super duper popular and a bunch of people flock to them and try to, I won't say like leech off the clout, but you definitely get this effect, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Because you would want to commission someone because they were a big name and they would tweet you on their feed, right? And say, hey, I just finished this commission for X VTuber, right? And so it's kind of like, free advertising, and it's, well, not free because you paid $2,000 for a model, but
Probably more if you're
Yeah.
looking at an artist for like cloud purposes, probably more.
Yeah, but it's crazy that that's like a part of it, right? Because you've seen some of these like really, really high end like studios and artists making models for people you've never heard of, right?
Oh yeah, it's crazy the amount of people that like drop money into VTubing without like having even streamed first. Actually, because like people say that VTubing is a very expensive hobby. Not for me, but
No.
it really
It
depends.
only is if you make it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing with like when there's no rule like set rules or like instructions for anything, you can do whatever you want, and that might end up being kind of
Well, it's still the Wild West in terms. It's funny. It's like been like we are just talking. It's been 2 years since the Hololive end, and it still feels like this is like the Wild West in a sense, right?
Yeah.
There's very little rules and
Yeah.
structures like
I
in
mean,
the
there's
VTuber community.
I mean, there's never gonna be like set rules or anything like that, or even like honestly, probably not even standards. Oh, yeah, because like people can just get away with it, whatever.
Yeah, there's no
There
there's
should,
no
there's just no,
enforcing. There's no way to enforce any sort of standard or
yeah.
conduct or anything.
You just have to keep yourself going.
Now, do you see one thing I do worry about with a lot of VTubers is obviously like their career path, right? Because I just assume that
Oh,
it doesn't pay a lot, or they're not going to be able to do this forever. Like something's going to be end up. But seeing like as people's artists, that skill is very transferable to a whole bunch of different fields. I guess like if you stopped VTubing or after you finish this, would you still like be doing like commissions and stuff like that? Is it something you like doing like as a profession? Or does it just happen to be the
yeah.
place you're in right now?
No, for sure. I would like uh still do commissions because I do have a company that I do like freelance work for sometimes.
Mhm.
It doesn't pay as well as like doing VTubing stuff. Just like just because of personal rate, because they don't give me a lot of work, so I don't. I think I charge. I'm gonna be open about it because whatever. I think I charge them like 25 Canadian dollars an hour, and I get maybe like on a good month, maybe like 15 hours of work. So it's not like very consistent, but I do still work on like personal stuff because I'm a concept artist, right? I don't think people really think about it, but I do have my own professional portfolio separate from like all VTubing stuff and other stuff I do. So yeah, if VTubing goes under, I'll just be out there doing more art.
Yeah, I mean, VTubing is just a field to hone your skills. Like
Yeah.
that's how people should look at it.
Well, it's like I was actually going to ask that because it's something like rigging too different from any like commercial work you would be doing. Is it like so niche that it's not something you would ever do for like a company that would hire you?
It is very niche, at least for the way I advertise myself, because I don't really advertise my skills that much as an animator, I guess. But Live 2D skills are very transferable to maybe like simple animations, maybe character animations. You could easily do that in Live 2D. I just don't advertise myself that way. It's kind of like Live 2D is weirdly like not transferable to the field that I work in, at least.
It's not like doing UV mapping or like skeletal rigging and like a 3D model is like completely different from that.
You could
Yeah,
probably
it's very different.
you could probably work for mobile games.
True. I mean, gotcha companies they've been hiring like Live City people for like a long
Yeah.
time because all the
Majority of
little
games are
idle animations you see
turning
in
into
gotcha.
live 2D now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that you mentioned that, the first time I heard the term Live 2D was in a gotcha game,
Yeah,
like in
it's
reference to a
in
gotcha game.
Yeah.
it's in like Azure Lane, GFL.
Mhm.
They'll just like straight up call it live 2D.
I still wonder why there isn't a VTuber gotcha game. It just seems so obvious, right? Just-
Well, I mean, like
I mean, they had collabs, like Hololive had a collab with Azure Lane, I'm pretty sure,
the
like a
thing with
while
the
ago.
thing with a VTuber game is that you have to like probably make it play probably like an idle simulator.
yeah, it can be like one of like the Love Live ones or something like that.
But the thing is,
Yeah.
games like Idolmaster and stuff like that, they're just like PNGs.
Yeah, just slap the Live 2D in there and just print money, right? Like just have some like like DDR equivalent gameplay and just
No,
because
I mean
like who,
those
who
games,
who plays
those
gotcha
games.
for the gameplay?
I mean, a lot of people do. Like for the games that are actually good. The games that have live 2D animations and stuff, they don't really have good gameplay.
I mean, I was a gotcha
Is there
addict
a
back
good
in the day.
gotcha game?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was playing Fshojou, I was playing Azure Lane and all the Concole and all that stuff back in the day. I'm many years clean.
Yeah,
You know?
Kanko is not very good gameplay wise.
Oh no.
Azure Lane's not very good gameplay wise. They have to make
Kegel
up.
was like anti fun. Like
They have to like make something worth it, and that's usually like the visual.
but hey, I mean, it's them. They have the last laugh, right? Because
Well, I mean, actually, one of my favorite games did get live 2D like animated characters. So
which
who
game?
knows?
Uh-oh, it's a shit game now.
Which game?
No, it's Puzzle and Dragon.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That game's cool. It is kind of a shit game now because the meta is like.
It's a
But
Kson game.
I'm not gonna get into that.
Yeah. Also, Puzzle and Dragons is ancient
Yeah, it's
at this point.
like 2013. Very old.
Dang, man. But yeah, it's cool to like see behind the scenes of kind of like the artist and reading community, because so much of it happens just like in DMs, right? You just have an artist, they have 0 slots in perpetually, right? And occasionally they'll tweet out, some commission they completed, but just unless you interacted with them that way, you wouldn't really know. Is there something like, I guess if we're gonna say for our viewers, I want to say, is there like any tips or something you would give to, but it's like, man, I can't even, doesn't even seem like a great question. I'm like rambling.
Give reviewers tips and tricks.
Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah, on how to
that
swindle
sounds
you.
way too cringe. Like, I'm just like, my body's
well, the
fighting
thing is,
me,
it's like-
trying not to say it.
Well, how about this? What do you think people should look out for when they're commissioning something? Like your personal, you're like how do you, since you
Personally?
draw, you do rigging, so you have like a big portfolio, like what, and you also have to like you have to market yourself as well. So like how, when people are like trying to buy things or trying to look for like a rig to be done or get art, what should they be looking for?
Honestly, I would just look at their previous work, because I feel like a lot of people that maybe are not satisfied with like uh their rigging or their artwork is maybe because they didn't do that much research in the person's previous work, or maybe they didn't communicate well enough with the person, right? Because I feel like you should, if you're interested in someone's work and they don't really have like commissions open when anywhere or whatever, or maybe they have it closed, there's like no harm in DMing them about it, unless they have like, don't DM me about commissions, please stop. I feel like there's no harm in just asking them like, hey, I'm looking for like a model like this, and I want it to be like in your art style. I'm like, I want it to have this and that. Can you do that? And then if the artist is at least a genuine person, they're gonna be like, yeah, I can do that, or like, no, not really. I feel like most situations of people being unhappy with other people's work, they can maybe just be done. They looked into it better.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely do your research. And I do think I I have seen people say like bring references and things like that. Like that
Oh yeah.
do everything you can to help out the person. If you see like a model they've done before and you like a certain thing about it, tell them.
Yeah, that's really helpful. I like it a lot when, because I don't really visualize stuff in my head. I have that like whole aphantasia shit or whatever. Uh, it's really helpful when people that want to commission me and maybe don't have a full reference sheet yet. They just take like screenshots from maybe a game that like they made a character like uh maybe a Final Fantasy like one character that they made as a reference, took screenshots, or maybe just like take screenshots from an anime and be like, hey, I like these hairstyles and I like this face or whatever. It's really helpful if people just take screenshots and write down what they want.
Yeah. The same goes for the rigging. If if you want like a certain thing that
Yeah.
a different model has, like the way they have wings and it moves a certain way and you like that, definitely show people that too. Because communication is really important.
Yeah.
And just being detailed in your request. Have you ever gotten anyone like said like, "Hey, can I just copy this for me?" Right? Like,
No, not really. I've had people ask if like if I can rig like a certain other rigger, like if I can do it like how they do it, and I'm like, yeah, I think I can.
I want it exactly like this other guy.
If someone should ask me to like just copy someone else, I would just be like, sorry, no can do.
But yeah, Aria, thanks for coming on. Do you want to have a little shout out, another chill the Patreon a little bit before we head out here?
Oh, dude, you want me to show my Patreon? Now that you're saying it,
No, no, no. I mean your Patreon where you
I
can
mean,
become
we don't have a Patreon yet, so
yeah 5 limited slots of being what your personal IT consultant or something
yeah,
like that. Yes.
yeah. For $30 a month, you can harass me all you want for live 2D help and our work help if you want for $20 a month. I also have a free sketch tier. Still have time to. When are you guys gonna release this?
Yeah, it's gonna be
I was gonna
released
say
on like
if you
on Wednesday.
subscribe this month, and then I was like, you're gonna release this. Oh,
It'll be
well.
on Wednesday. Yeah, so it'll still be in July. You still have
Okay,
time,
okay.
viewer out there.
well, it depends
If
on
it's July, you still
when.
have time.
Yeah,
If
depending
it's
on when you're
August,
listening to
it's
this.
only next month.
Well, regardless, you're gonna get something free every month, anyways.
Yeah.
So
And also, I just post stream updates and rigging videos on there.
All right, cool. Well, thanks everyone for listening to Viewertown, and we'll see you next episode.
bye.
Bye.